Hey folks, uh, last night was an experience. We had a windstorm that went on for a very long time. Got basically no sleep. So naturally I kept waiting today, having sips of coffee and stuff, thinking, alright, I'll get started with development work once I start waking up a bit. And it never came, so we're just gonna go for this and see what happens. It may be a complete train wreck, or maybe it'll all go really smooth and I'll feel glad about doing it. I guess we'll find out. So as mentioned prior, I need to make a sort of genericized version of this content, and trying to think, for progress updaters, am I ever going to expect more than one data structure? Probably not. But if I do, is it colon? I always forget this part. You know what? Let's go look. So it's fine. You'll often forget these things, and yeah, it was just right after it. Where T1 colon. Yes. Monitor behavior where, whoops, where T1 colon scriptable object, and specifically it would be these, but because these reference containers themselves, I think it gets too messy. So, but stating that if we don't, then we don't get the benefit of the dot data. So let's see here. And it's gonna say requires 2 arguments. Does that work? I assume not. Huh. T1 is T2, T2 is T3. There's probably something with reflection that I could do, but it's probably one of those things where it's just, if you go too low down on generics, you can't do this. Or it's possible that you can, and I'm just not aware of the way to do that. So we're just looking real quick. Non-nullable class, unmanaged class. Oh, interesting. Multiple constraints can be applied to the same type parameter, and the constraints themselves can be generic types as follows. Okay, I see that, but how doth we do that? I assume it doesn't have a quick action to explain it to me. It does not. Because I see system.I comparable T. I suppose that the progress updater T1 would be adventure data. And so T2, T3 perhaps? T2, T3, and then T2, T3? So the type T3 cannot be used as a parameter. Type T2 in the generic type method. There's no boxing, which converts T3 to I variable. And if we go look in here, that's what we're requiring, which is let's see, T2 or where T3 is I variable. There we go. It's a bit messy, but should work. So then if we go look at the incubator, progress updater, type 1 would be Moosecat egg data. Type 2 would be Moosecat egg, is it variable then reference? Datum then variable. Awesome. Okay. I will promptly forget this later. But, so we don't really need this because we're going to have... Oh, and there's also the catalog that you need. Did we need the catalog for the adventure progress? No. So we won't genericize that. But the data is done. So protected abstract T1 data, we'll just say, yeah. What am I forgetting? Oh, it's just private and public and stuff. Okay. Protected T1 data. Wow, my headphones are getting all sorts of finagled. Okay. So that'll take care of accessing the data. So then we've got adventure data, adventure datum, adventure reference. It should be correct. Well, let's open up our egg one. Oh, no, this is fine. This is fine. Close this. Close these two. That one. We're just going to get down to the bare bones of what we actually need for this particular bit of work. So we don't need this anymore. This is a data SO container. Data SO container. Ah. So we get rid of this line. Ah. What better name do we have for this? Because otherwise it'll be data.data. Data container is probably fine. Then we got these 2 game events. And these are going to say that we can't make them abstract, I suspect, yeah. Because I'm a silly goose. Progress update. Progress complete. And similar for the incubator. So we're looking at this real quick. And obviously, not all datum structures would have status currently. So that is something down the road we could potentially clean up, but I'm not going to worry about it for now. So we're going to grab this. Egg data. Is that actually what I wanted? I think it's not. Yeah. Okay. This does not yet exist. We'll go look at this structure. It has nothing in it currently. So we do need a few things. Honestly, yeah. Status, progress, and update status are all things, and update progress are all things that could be genericized. Progression datum. Those are the bases. We'll make a new base. Progressive datum. And the contents of this will be status, there we go, status variable for debugging and just general knowledge, how far along we are. And setting, resetting, setting are both acceptable. No, so we'll remove the resetting for now. And then update progress. We can get rid of these 2 lines. here. Aggressive datum, save. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. These are accessor issues. We'll fix that in a moment. Get rid of this. And these all need to be protected. Oh, is it not protected? I thought it would have been. Oh, it's a private set. My bad. Update progress can be flat out removed. So now our adventure datum is just covering the things special to adventures currently. Like loading the data. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. That must have been a weird day. So then we can go back to our egg. Aggressive datum. And now when we go over to our incubator, we've got the ability to update progress, and we have status available. So with this in mind, can make these simplified. So maybe the only thing that is not going to work is this line, which we could make a function call. Because we currently get it from the datum structure. We currently get it from the adventure itself. And we have Moosecat egg data. Like if we look at the alpha egg, we would have some kind of private. I'm just thinking real quick. I know I'm doing this, but I actually kind of don't like it. I think I might start stacking them or something. Yeah, we'll see. So this would be the equivalent of the oh, we don't need a setter because this is an immutable value. There you go. And I think we determined that we'll eventually be getting rid of type or cleaning it up. That was something from yesterday's talk. Because we don't want redundant or dead information. So with this in mind, if we go back to our datum structure, adventure datum does have a reference to its adventure, which means that it makes sense that this would have a reference to the egg. it's just a flat out class, which is the same here. And much like we wrote here, we'll put this on the egg just so we don't forget. All right. So now we have a reference to the egg. So we could have an abstract function. Public bool is progress complete. Public abstract. And then here we would implement that, and we would return if return Moosecat egg dot duration. That's if progress is greater than or equal to the duration. And then we can go look at the adventure, and similarly, progress greater than or equal to duration. Return this. All right, and then we can go back to our updater, and I think we can take this whole shebang Okay, so we probably could fix that now that we know what's going on there. Yeah. Okay, so now we know what's going on there. We can fix that later. What were we gonna do here? We were going to... Whoops. Now, update is not necessarily... behavior. Okay, so... where T2, let's go look at one of these data containers. T2 is adventure datum, progressive datum, T2, progressive datum. I can see now why people tend to put these on a new line like this, because then you can read them easier. It's kind of hideous to me, but okay. And then this is T2, progressive datum. And this line actually needs to change. Dot is progress complete. And we want to change the wording on this. Progress is complete. if progress is complete, then do this stuff. And then we will simplify these members. And then that means we don't need this at all, awkwardly. And then for the Moosecat, for the incubator, we also don't need this. What's the catalog doing for us? Well, let's look at our progress updater. Nothing. I don't think we actually need it. Because all this is doing is incubating the eggs. Another class would change eggs to active incubating. And another class would handle events upon eggs finishing incubation. Finally, the UI somewhere to show. Finally, the incubation UI for incubating and hatching eggs. Okay. So that handles all of that. We can go look at these classes. We see that we need to serialize some stuff. I always get scared when I touch a button on my keyboard that I'm not intending, and then I hear like the music skip or something. And I think, uh-oh, did I just make a boo-boo? Okay, so venture data, and then we need to do on let's go find this and rename it. Where'd you go, buddy? Okay, and then hook up the adventure progress updater on adventure ready to complete. And again, we'll need to go through and do some event renaming later. And then for the incubator, we got the egg data. We don't have the scripts for it yet. And technically, I think it should go in the progress updaters folder, just right here. And we'll delete that utilities. And while we're at it, we're just going to change the name. Ew, we missed a letter. There you go. Yeah, maybe we'll look at the datums later and see if we can adjust them so that they act similar to the variables and cut down on our object structures. I think that would be really... Oh, so low now. Oh, well. I think that would be really helpful. So now we need... some events for this. Moosecat egg progress date. I assume. What did we call these two? On Moosecat egg progress. And then on Moosecat egg ready to complete. And we should probably change the wording on these. So it's progress, updater, adventure. And then progress updater, Moosecat egg. That way they show up in the same location when alphabetized. There we go. And then we go down to progress updater, Moosecat egg, on update, on complete. Cool. So that takes care of the actual progression side of things for the eggs. Obviously, we now need to take a step back because we need to be able to see the egg data itself, which is a list of T1, which is currently not serialized, but now it will be. So obviously we've got these data structures that we can start adding to them. And the thing we add to them is the eggs themselves. Just looking this all over. So dummy progress Moosecat egg, and we go look. Now obviously in our game manager, other than this really weird error that we still have that we need to figure out sometime. We have, so alpha egg, it does show up under the item section. That is good. Unfortunately, it does mean that I need to adjust how and where we put items for creating new items. So that will be based off of their type. So I'll need to remember that. In fact, I'll make a note for myself. Alternatively, we could have manager views for each major item group. Okay. So now we need to build the system for spawning eggs. I think so. So looking over it, thinking about it logically, what we need: egg spawner to add eggs to your collection, egg incubator for incubating eggs. So first, egg incubator item for incubating eggs, egg incubator UI for selecting eggs to incubate. And then we need egg progression updating. Egg news token similar to adventure token. Egg incubator UI allowing for selecting finished eggs to hatch. Hatching process spawning relevant Moosecat. And is that everything? Whoops, sorry, hit the microphone. Is that everything for just the egg portion? I think it might be. Base on GUI. Oh, is the first index some weird... Because global, probably. Let's try that real quick. Aha. Okay, so enum index starts at 0, as it should. So that's what it is. It's when it opens up to the main page. But only the first time. Weird. Okay, so now we have our game plan. So let's make our spawner. Empty Moosecat egg spawner. And you might ask yourself why everything ends up being a mono behavior in the scene. It's so that it can interact with our event system. And this would go into likely the item section. Or would it go into the Moosecat section? Great question. Well, where did we put the eggs, I suppose? If we put them here, we might as well put it with them, because that makes sense. And we'll attach it over here. So what's this silly thing need to do? Well, on a event request to spawn an egg, we're going to do public void spawn Moosecat egg. And we can actually look at the Moosecat spawner and see that it'll be roughly the same idea. To the point where once we make this, we probably could come in and do a semi-genericized thing, because the name and stuff would all, because yeah, Moosecat datum. My cat's snoring. What a cutie. Okay. Do we need game data? What are we getting from game data? Oh, just the catalog? Is that really what I'm storing in game data right now? Howdy, Thug. Hope life is treating you well. I'm not sure how I feel about me putting the catalogs in the game data like that in the past. But we'll just not do that here. You know, just trying to get things done and... I do what I can. It's the high impact content. I may end up playing a game in a bit. We'll see how my brain goes. I mentioned it earlier, but we had a windstorm last night and I got like no sleep. It was pretty rough. Okay. Yeah, I part of the storm ended up finding out one of the boards on our porch is not fully... No, I wish it was just that. No, it was just so loud. The winds here get like, not quite hurricane level, obviously. Well, they can sometimes, but they get strong enough that you start finding out where things aren't nailed in. And then you're like, oh, I really wish that was nailed in. So the spawner is using, okay, so datum, object, value, equals value as that. I feel like I can make this better. Whoops. And that makes total sense that it would add it to... But yeah, I was so excited to get more work done today, and like the coffee's doing nothing. Currently working on a game project. Could be Windows 12, you'll never know. One sec here. Gotta get over to the right window. So this is just sort of the like developer art scene. Obviously you got like your beautifully rendered rooms and stuff, because I figure I can do all the art and stuff later. But basically you're gonna have a play space where you'll be working through a story of trying to figure out what happened to like the vast majority of this mansion, and part of that process will be actually rebuilding it, filling all the rooms with these little magical cat creatures, and you'll have a little guy, presumably or probably, that you can walk around the various rooms in. Each room will have its own style, like different biomes and stuff like that. And so right now we're just building all the structures to make that possible. There's a lot of code that goes into every little thing. You don't quite realize it until you're making it. But yeah, for now, as you mentioned, we've got those beta like Windows style quality stuff. But you know, so now my cat, these two cats are back from the adventure, so they're back in the room. And we've got our little debug menu for taking care of things, but just working on it a bit every day. And I figure as long as I keep up with that, it will eventually get done. And so I just kind of do this in between playing various games, and I've been streaming all of them just because figure if anyone pops in, which does happen from time to time, I got somebody to chat with, so it's a nice combo. So we pass through a egg datum that gets set, and previously we needed to do some work to like add a cat, but that's totally different from what we're doing here. Here we're just spawning an egg that has a set of data in it. So we've got Moosecat egg data dot add. I think that's not quite, I can't quite be it, because we need to know what type of egg we are spawning. And the way you would figure that out is actually from catalog. And you would pass through a breed. Okay. To generate an egg of that type. All right. And that should return an egg. So now that we have an egg, we could then make a new Moosecat egg datum. Egg equals egg, and I don't think there's anything else we actually need to set. We could probably make an initialization function. Void init. And we'll pass through egg. But yeah, what I'm excited for is when we get further into, if not December, like January, where I can start actually adding content in sense of like art for the different stuff. Because there is a certain point while you're working on it that, oh yeah, I guess we could do that. Constructor. You just kind of want something, right? Something that you can play with and sort of feel the sense that things are coming together. Yeah, that's what we'll actually do. Moosecat egg. So we'll do it that way. That's cleaner. One fewer lines. So in theory, I should be able to add a button to this real quick and pass through a breed and have it add the correct data to my player's data. So let's give it a shot. Start the game. And then we're going to go into breeds. We'll grab alpha because that's the only one we currently have an egg for. Which only matters because we're going to have different art for the different egg types. So then we will invoke. We don't see an error, so that's a good sign, potentially. And we'll go over to our data structures, into eggs. And indeed, we can see the egg with the alpha egg in it. So that is working correctly. Only thing we need to do here is status equals inactive, not dummy. And we'll do it like that. Assigns egg to the corresponding value and set status to inactive. Okay, so we officially have the spawner working, so we can hook up the game event listener. We don't have the UI yet for spawning the egg, but we could... Or actually, will it even be in the UI? No, I don't think so. It'll actually be under like adventure rewards or something along those lines. We'll just put it in the folder for eggs. And then we'll attach and assign the function. Okay, so now once we hook up that later, we don't even have to hook it up yet, but once we hook it up later, it will work, assuming we pass through the right data. And the right data to pass through will be the breed. Which means when we look at the adventures themselves, as an example for some a place that you could get a Moosecat, we'll need to add something, because right now we have just like item rewards, so we probably should split this up to be item rewards, Moosecat like egg rewards, stuff like that, so that we can have these different lists for things that you can get. And then there would be scripted rewards as well for things that you need to be able to get for, say, tutorial or what have you. We can get rid of that button now. Remove and sort. And go back to my notes. We've finished the egg spawner, so now we would need to consider the item that you would need to have in order to incubate eggs. That's actually pretty easy to do. Just under items, we can go create new item, and we can call it incubator. Let's see, what kind of art can we give this thing temporarily? Little sword is fine. And same thing, the name will be updated. Type, let's fix this list. Cutlery. Moosecat egg. Incubator. Because we may have eventually different kinds of incubators, like faster ones, slower ones, ones that increase rarity, something along those lines. Yeah, these two can be switched over to cutlery. The egg is an egg, as you'd expect. So now we've created, if we go over to the game manager, you can see that it currently only sees the alpha egg, and the reason for that is that they're in different folders. So if we pull the egg out into the main folder, and then close and reopen the game manager, we now see all of our items. I need to keep that in mind. In fact, let's just do this. Scriptable objects. And we'll just grab all of our scriptable object items and move them in here. And then we can have close, reopen. There we go. So now I can just start making folders for the different stuff and go from there. It's funny, I say non-consumable, but technically if they end up being currency or something that you can utilize, they are consumed. It's just we need to have items that you can use, like non-usable versus use items. Okay. So we got this nice little list of all the different items for quickly looking at them. So we can comment out that one. Next we would need... so we have the spawner. So now we need to do add egg spawn event. So if we go and look at our adventures, oh, I should add a button for selecting them from here. That would be really smart. Maybe I'll do that sometime. So rewards are of type item. I suppose I actually can just put the egg in there. Kind of forgot that that's because they derive from item that they could just be added. Whoops. Then we go back over to our adventure completer. So currently it would try to add the item to your item data. Is that actually a problem? I don't think it is. I might have one extra data structure than I actually need. Yeah, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna do a source tree commit and do some deleting. Duh. Says my SSH key and stuff is not currently hooked up. It's news to me. Ah, and then source tree crashes. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. I like that. I'm a big fan when software just sudokus on me. All right. I'm a bit weirded out that it didn't require one until now. Oh, it's because my computer is turned off, the one that has the actual key on it. Okay, that makes sense. Well, the commit's ready, so that's fine. Ah, right. So the problem was that when it is serializing and showing the data, it doesn't show the individual types correctly. So while we see the item count and name, we don't see, say, the progress and the egg associated with it. So that's what the problem was. Interesting. But we do know that it is possible to see the correct data because we're doing it right here. And so they are different structures because these ones have progress. Very intriguing. There's actually one thing I want to... There we go. Ah, I see. And the reason it's working is we're creating new item datums. Ahaha. And that would not work if I mean, it's not a big deal. I can just sort things by their item type. This is getting big enough that I am starting to wonder if it should be separated out, but let me fix that. Well, let's do it the easiest way first. Item.type. If item.type equals so that's how we need to change that. So we do need a super type, I think. So if it doesn't equal this, do this. Otherwise, data. Oh, we don't even have access to that in here. Oh, oh, oh. How silly. So yeah, I'll need to mull that over. I suspect this is feeling to me like I've gone, not, I wouldn't say the wrong direction, but somewhere that needs adjustment. And when we go back and look at the adventure, we can see that it is a specific kind of egg. Where egg dot I'll go like that. Egg equals item dot. So we need to actually change Moosecat egg. Equals item as Moosecat egg. And so this is checking if we have one. If Moosecat egg equals null, then Moosecat egg datum or data.data.add new Moosecat egg datum. We should actually be using the egg spawner. Yes. And we would do that by triggering the event. So there would be egg.breed. And if it's not null, do we want to have those have a count? No, because each one's going to have its own progress. Yeah. So we actually don't need the Moosecat egg data. But I am probably going to make an item spawner as well, so that everything is using spawners to keep things all doing the same basic concept. Alright, so if we run that adventure, let's make sure the egg is on both of them, just for... Okay. Checking our scriptable object, we're going to clear out that entry. And then we'll hit this button here. And we see up here that it added it, and it has it set to inactive. And then, clear this all out. If we go start another, oh. art equals null. No, it definitely has art. All of it does. Which suggests to me then that it's item info, because yeah, we'll fix that in a sec. But let's look at our egg data again. So we have one in there already. So in theory, this should add a second entry, and it does. That's exactly what we want. Okay. That's cool. So we got the spawn event. Now we need to go look at the inventory real quick so we can fix that. We don't care about this. Or actually, do we? We do. So that's the first one. All good there. Next one is the spoon. All good there. Ah, and now we're on to the egg, which shouldn't be in there anymore. So that's why we're having an error. Okay, so it actually was not quite the problem we were expecting. Okay, so that's fine. So now we would want some kind of egg incubator UI. I still think I may want to figure out how to have the item data. I think what it may amount to is making a property drawer that shows the specific type. If I so care, I suppose. Because it's not a big deal. Yeah. We can also probably get rid of this. I think I know how to make this just work. Because if we go in here, T2 is I variable, which yeah, I think we can fix that so that we don't have that. I'm gonna probably buckle down and listen to some tunes and just sort of brute force through some of this. And keep moving ahead, yeah, because I can keep streaming, it's fine. So the item cell thing is fine. So when we think of the tokens that are generated, we probably want to genericize that in some fashion. Maybe. Hard to say. these are all the scriptable objects which are not the same as these bad boys. And these are so different. Yeah, I think that's fine. Because these are so different that, like, they don't have a count. Okay. Totally fine. So let's go real quick. I want to go find something. Okay, so this is what he does. So if we go and look at our datum structures, variable is fairly simple, but reference is not. I would even argue that the drawer not being in an editor folder is doing a fat lot of good. Yeah, very interesting. Ooh, nice little music with a bit of rain sound, huh? Okay, so the way that they do it, and this would require a somewhat modest refactor. So if you could imagine, we'll go in here, create C# script, and we'll call it a variable SO. And variable SO will have type T1, public T1, initial value, serialized. What's that use? System. Public T1 runtime value. On after to serialize. Excuse me, good lord. Public void on. Oh, there's nothing even going on in that function. So that's roughly what he's doing. Ah, I see. That's why it was empty. So we actually don't want this to be public. There we go. And so then in this example, we would simply create a script called adventure datum. Ah, right, we already have one of those. That's fine. So we would do that. Now we just get rid of this one, I believe. This is all still fine. What do we call it? Yeah. And these are currently looking for value and set value, so we could go back in and still do that. So private there, public t1 value, get return value, and then private set value equals value. Oh, that's awkward. There we go. And then public void set value t1 value, this dot value equals value. And that should allow other classes to just work. Set value. Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll just have everything go through. And then if we go and look at the requirements here, so T1 is the first thing, which is adventure datum. And then this is a variable SO of adventure datum. Yeah! Nice. So now we can go into all the other of these dealies and actually just get rid of this line. Debug manager, adventure selector. That one's good. Get rid of that. That's fine. We'll go through and fix all those real quick. So that means we can get rid of these two classes entirely. Get rid of this interface entirely. Oh, I love cutting down on stuff. Such a good feeling. And we're just going to go in and close everything real quick. And just open these all. Well, first things first, actually, we can get rid of all the references. And then we're just left with the variables. And then we can go in and add the SO just so that we remember that's what these are. So this should dramatically increase the speed that we can do these. That's fine. And then T3 in this example was a SO variable SO of T1 or of T2. Okay. Get rid of that again. And get rid of this because it's already covered. And this thing we can just delete in general. Okay, let's set that one. We're gonna probably get some more compile time errors down here. That's fine. Or not. That's creepy. We'll hit play, see if everything explodes. No. Well, dang. Not every day that you go and change a bunch of stuff and have it just kind of work again. Alrighty. That's a good feeling. So yeah, we've been able to dramatically reduce the complexity of these things and in their names. And we could probably do the side brackets on all of these. Oh, they already got formatted that way, it looks like. Okay, cool. So now all of our scriptable object variables are a much simpler class that has their initial value, hide label, remove and sort usings. And this should get rid of that awkward label at the top. So now they just all show their default data, which is great for us because this was actually an issue we had initially where if we go look at adventure data, this needed to be done, but now I don't think it does. Because our adventure data defaults to this information. In fact, I think these are actually backwards from... yeah, let's go with this. What's the error here? Ah, this is just a getter currently, with initial value being up here. Well, that doesn't actually explain... serialized, hide label, title. Very interesting. What am I forgetting here? Well, it is something spoopy with that. I'm surprised that's not working. Like, genuinely. Oh, okay, it does at runtime. That's not weird at all. One casual observation is this probably shouldn't be set for the progress stuff. Once loading is finished, that probably would lead to some kind of bug. But we'll worry about that at a later time, I think. Maybe? Let's think about it. Data loader. Okay, so if we wanted to make that proper, it gets a little bit confusing because these are themselves a generic. And so what happens is you've got T2 and T3, which themselves aren't assigned yet. So then you'd have T2, T3. But we could remember if we wanted to make this easier on ourselves. So we know, looking at adventure data that it's datum and variable SO. So what we could actually say is and then T1 is data. And that just makes it kind of easier to read for us. It's less obtuse. And then it's complaining because there's no conversion from variable SO to variable SO datum. And so this actually would get a little bit complicated, I think, but we'll give it a shot. We'll try real quick. So the next thing would be where datum equals well, let's go look at one of our data loaders real quick. Adventure datum, which is a progressive datum. Variable SO of type datum. Can it be done? Because we have different kinds of datums, obviously. We have like Moosecat datum and stuff. So I guess we don't want to do that. We'll just back out a little bit. Now obviously that doesn't let us do the initialization at the bottom level, but if we wanted to, we could create an interface that we probably should have done ages ago. And it'd be initializable. Interface. Whoops. Interface. And then we would say public void init. And that's it. And then we go over here to I assume we can't do multiple requirements, can we? Well, maybe we can. Oh, whoops. So this is where it would go. Going down one more layer. We almost don't even need this for players. The initialization thing actually is only happening with our work. But that is probably fine. Oh, okay. Too much open house. And T1 is a scriptable object where T2 is a variable SO of T1. And then when we get to this level, we want to be able to init from inside of data loader, which would require data loader to get the correct parameters for the object that's being loaded. And the object that's being loaded is a data structure. So we'll close this for now. This is a data SO container, so we'll get it in order. So this needs to load this, rather, which is one of these with a datum and a variable SO. And if we go down into variable SO, we see that it is of type T1, so we'll grab that real quick. And T1 is a datum, so we're going to rename that real quick. Oh, but it doesn't have to be, although the way we're using them it always is, so that's fine. Okay. Okay, so that's all much more readable now. And then if we go back to here, we'll give it one more shot. So this is a data structure. And if we open one of those up, data SO container. Where data SO container. I assume it doesn't let me just do that. That would be too convenient. So this is our first level. So the next two things we need are datum and datum variable SO. So then this is datum, datum variable SO. And then it's complaining that datum variable SO needs to also have a where is, and then we go look at that real quick. Expected datum, datum variable SO datum. Oh, I see. We're making ourselves a little bit confused here. So let's change this real quick. Datum variable. Or just variable SO? That doesn't. Oh, okay. And then when we go back up to our other levels, oh no, it was actually at the loader level that we needed help. We got Moosecat data, Moosecat datum, Moosecat datum variable SO. And from there, we should be able to do public void init. Cool. I'm gonna start doing this from now on. Like, I made it so much easier to work through. None of that foobar nonsense anymore. Close all but this. Okay, so let's work through this. Room datum variable SO. Boop. What's this say if I go base? Okay, so I have it set up to be naughty apparently. Venture datum, venture add venture datum variable SO. Cool. Generics are neat. Like, I don't know, it's interesting just being able to consolidate so much code so that everything can just work off of this baseline thing and not have it in all of them. Absolutely fascinating. Then if we go back to our classes, Doesn't look like we've lost any references. And then if we hit play, things are still working. I don't know how to feel about this. Making so many changes and having it keep working. All right. That was a lot of dancing around. So, yeah, move. And we'll fix our stuff. Yeah, it's so awkward getting to these, like, empty classes. Boop, boop. Oh, this one's got lots of stuff going on in it. So in theory, we shouldn't need these two anymore. Well, we're gonna try commenting it out real quick. Still looks good to me. Yeah, okay. All right, we can get rid of that. And then we have room data added here. And now we know our other classes aren't adding that way. And the purpose of that currently seems to be just to update the debug. We now have enough information that we could do an add and a get from probably within the actual abstract class itself. Okay, well I won't worry about this for now, because it's not really negatively impacting us, nor can I see a reason why it would. But we were able to clean up some work, and that's always good. Wow, that was a lot of class changes at one time. Ah, okay. Well, I'm gonna end it there, because obviously I was getting too focused. I was doing another commit. And maybe when I get back, if I've got more to do, we'll go from there. And if I don't, we won't. And you'll just see the next update where more stuff has happened. Still not quite happy with the UI stuff. I think we actually pull that out into a separate scene. I can't think of any reason why I wouldn't. So maybe that'll be my next step. So yeah. If you watched here, thanks for watching here. If you watch on YouTube, thanks for watching there. And hopefully at some point here, I will get added to the authorized thing for the Lofi Girl music so that I'll stop getting like 2 seconds copyright hit and then having to remove it. So annoying. Anyways, bye.